Steve Poland here, and it's been about 3 months, so it's time for another fish room tour. This time I'm going to start down here in the basement fish room. On previous tours I've started upstairs, but now that the 90's gone, there's only one tank upstairs, so I feel like it makes more sense to start down here. I'm also going to try and do a better job. This is something I'm always bad at. I'm going to try and do a better job of remembering that you may not have seen previous tours, so I'm going to try and explain stuff as though you don't know what's going on. So this is the biggest rack. This is a quad 40 breeder rack. And then it has 6 10s up on top. Only 5 of those are full right now. This whole fish room is on a drip system. It's on a central air system. So it is, I'd say, halfway automated. There are a lot of things that I have in place that make things easier, but it's not fully automated. It's something I'd like to work on at some point in the future, but as for now, can start down here. These are 2 breeding groups. This is my blue neon breeding group. They've been doing well, been producing pretty well. I'll show you some of their offspring here in a little bit. Of course, now the male decides to hide. It's kind of back there behind the sponge filter. He's a really nice looking fish. He's not full grown himself, but they have definitely been spawning really ever since I've had this group together. They do a great job. Let's see if he'll come out and let you see him. He's got really nice egg spots. There we go. Blue neons are just some of my favorite peacocks. And over here is my sunshine breeding group. Real nice male. Again, he's not full size either. And they've produced quite a bit. I've probably got at least 1 sunshine and 1 blue neon holding right now. I just kind of pull them out. I don't pull them out right away. What I've been doing is putting them up within the same tank, just inside of like a breeder net, and let them carry until they spit. Doesn't always work out that way. Sometimes they spit early and I gotta tumble the eggs, as you'll see here in a little bit, but really for the most part it's worked pretty well. But yeah, I really like this guy. Again, sunshines are another of my favorite groups of peacocks. Alright, so in this tank, this is new actually. So a fellow YouTuber, Stevo Hoppa, reached out to me a little while ago. Check out Stevo's channel. I'll link it below. He reached out because he had a space issue, a couple of groups of fish that he was looking to move out. So we worked out a little deal, traded some fish. So this is a group of Giselle. These are HAPs. It's the technical name, Placidochromis. I forget exactly what, but so there is, and he got these originally from the Wonder of Cichlids. And if you know Trevor in the Wonder of Cichlids, he just has amazing fish. So really good genes here. So you can see in the back, that guy's definitely a male. And the rest, jury's still out, not totally sure. I threw them in this tank, moved some things around. In this tank are also, they're usually hiding, and they're hiding now. There's one in the back there, some really small Synodontis petricola. There's one. They started out, when I first got them, they were like teeny tiny, and they're growing pretty quick. So we'll see what happens with this group. I'm really excited to have a breeding group of these guys, though. It's a fish that I think is really cool looking. In this tank, this is the divided tank, 3-way divided tank. In this section are some fish that have gotten beaten up upstairs. That's my Lawanda. He is like in pretty bad shape. There's dragon blood in there as well. Just somewhere for them to hang out. I've got some more fish up in the crawlspace grow out that are kind of in the same boat. In here, this is the other group that I got from Stevo, and these are Rotor Kaisers, Peacocks, Ruby Reds. This was, and there's 4 of these guys. This was 1 male, possibly 4 females, or 4 that were unsure. 1 was definitely male. Craziest thing happened. A few days after I had them here, they did fine after the move. Everything was good. Just had them in here. I turn on the lights. I'm talking like within 5 seconds of turning on the lights, this male turns upside down, swims around in circles twice, and dies. Like I watch him just die. And I don't know about any of the rest of you. I mean, we all have fish die sometimes. It happens. It's an unfortunate part of this hobby, but something that we just accept. I've never actually seen a fish just go from, hey, I'm normal, to all of a sudden like have a panic attack or like a heart attack or a stroke or something and just die, like right in front of me. I don't know. Maybe you guys have had that happen. I've never had that happen. It was the weirdest thing. So now I've got these 4, and I'm not sure what they are. And if they're all 4 females, then I may have to figure out something else to do. I'm not sure. And then next to them is a group of Mallory Sunshines that I got at an auction here locally. I got 6 of them. There are 3 males, 1 dominant, 1 kind of subdominant, another one is pretty submissive, and then 3 unsexed, possibly females. They're pretty small still. They're looking really good though. The faces are not coming through yet, but really nice fish. Not sure if I'm going to breed them. Not sure what I'm going to do with them, but they were... if you guys have been to auctions, sometimes you can get fish for just almost nothing, and that's how these guys were. So we'll see. Pretty nice fish though. And then up top, let me get my ladder. Go through these tanks. I got a little bit better lighting situation up here now because if you saw a couple weeks ago, I did these sliding glass tops instead, and that allowed me to put, I just had an old 4-foot strip light that I threw up here, fluorescent light. It's not on all the time, so I'm not like wasting a bunch of power, but it's nice for when I'm trying to look in these tanks. It's much easier to see what's going on in the tanks. And in a video like this. So this tank is all blue neons. It's probably hard to tell, but there's at least 40 of them in there that were all born here. I've pulled some of the larger ones out and put them in the crawlspace grow out. This tank is a little cloudy for some reason. I did water changes today, but I think that the water that was in the hose may have been a little, I don't know what's going on. Anyway, this tank is Azurius or Azurus. There's probably about only 6 of them in here. This was from a really early, I was having trouble getting these guys to breed early on. And they did breed once, and these are all guys that made it. So these are my biggest Azurus, but as you'll see here in a minute, I've got a lot more. This is a mixed tank. Okay, so there are 6 Venustus in here, really tiny Venustus. Again, I got these at the auction for $2 for these 6 little Venustus. So I just kind of threw them in here to see what they would do. Sorry, I'm like perched on this ladder and getting like, sorry if I'm not, this picture isn't straight. I'm like kind of whopper jawed. I need to move the ladder, but Venustus, they've been growing like gangbusters. I've been feeding them. I mentioned, I think, a few videos ago, I've been feeding that krill, the North Fin Krill Pro, and they just, I mean, these guys have probably tripled in size from when I got them. There are also some Dragon Bloods in here and a few small Sunshines. Let me move this ladder. In here is my remaining wild-caught red shoulder female. If you've followed previous tours, they all got beaten up pretty bad, and tried my best to save them, separated them, but one by one they've just they've not made it. So this is my lone holdout, and hopefully I can nurse her back. We'll see. And then this far tank is Sunshine Grow Out. Not a ton of them in there, but quite a few. This is my double 40 breeder rack. The upper tank is my wild-caught red shoulder male, Peacock. Even though he was a jerk to all of his females, he's still possibly my favorite fish. He's amazing. Everybody always, anybody, if they ever come here in person and they see this guy, it's like, it's just amazing. They're just, everybody's speechless. Kind of hard to tell on video though. And then this tank is where I do all of my tumbling of eggs and usually have my breeder boxes. So I have, that's a group of dragon bloods. Over here is another group of dragon bloods. And these are all azurus. There's a bunch of azurus in there. Again, those guys were not breeding for me early on, but they've really picked it up. So pretty excited about that. All of those, the dragon bloods and the azurus, those were like my two groups that were not performing, and now they are. So pretty happy about that. And then over here, tumbling, kind of mentioned earlier, and these guys are about to come out of here. They're not even really tumbling anymore. They're just swimming. This is a group of sunshines. Can't really see it from there. There's a lot of them in there. Down below, my dragon blood group, and the male loves to hang out inside of that pot, but I gotta make him come out because like every day he looks better and better. And it was, for a long time I wondered, is he gonna be okay? He was, a lot of him was white, which was a bummer. I'm gonna see if I can coax him out of here. There we go. You can see he's, of course he's just not cooperating, but saw him there for a minute. He's really awesome. Very pink. This guy came from Dekoshi originally. He's got the best dragon bloods of anyone ever, and I'm so excited to have this guy, this breeding group. And then this is my double 55-gallon rack. This upper tank has kind of taken over from the 90-gallon grow out upstairs. Most of those fish either went into the 220 or they came down to here, so it's been going pretty well. I've got the Sun on this tank, as well as an AquaClear 70, and of course sponge filter like all the rest of the tanks. Got some OBs in here. That is an azurus. Some of these guys are a little bit beaten up too, but this red cap has really taken off in this tank. It's been looking really good. That is one of my red shoulders, F1 red shoulders that was born here. He's a little bit beaten up, but still it's pretty awesome. I'm gonna get this guy. Look at that blaze on this guy. Turn around. Not happening. Alright, anyway. It's pretty much the grow out tank at this point. And then this is the azurus group. The male just decided to take off on me there. Yep, he is great. Every time I show him, I talk about his fins because he's got amazing fins. And now I've got a bunch of his offspring. So yeah, overall breeding is doing well. It's really gotten steady now, which is nice. Kind of all the challenges I had originally are over, and then I've got that new group, so pretty happy with it overall. Alright, let's move into the crawl space, check out what's going on in the big grow out system. Okay, so this is my 400-gallon crawl space grow out system. As always, I mentioned that there's a big series of videos about this if you're looking for more information, but got two big tubs here, and then I now have kind of a plant slash a little bit of a quarantine area back there now for other fish. Let me start with those fish back there before we open up the tubs. So this is my star sapphire male, and for a long time I was worried he was female because he just had no kind of chipping at all. You know, they get the flex on them. As he's, there we go. But as you can see now, I've had him in here for a while, kind of keeping him separate, and it's, you know, it's my largest tank by water volume. And he's really started to take off. He's still not very big, but these guys are very slow growers. Anyway, he's looking pretty good these days. Much better anyway. That is a tetrastigma that was upstairs and got beaten up. He's doing better. and that is a turkis. And over there is a bunch of algae, which I'm not discouraging because it does the same as the plants, which is soak up nitrates, and then some pothos growing. It does pretty well. At some point I cut one of them and like replanted it, which has been good. And then over on the other side, this is an F1 red shoulder. That is for sale. I've sold a bunch of them. One, as you probably saw, I had in the grow out, and then this one. The one in the grow out is one I decided to keep. That is an Eclipse, which is a line-bred peacock that got beaten up upstairs. Sensing a theme, yeah, they just beat each other up. That's kind of the bummer of an all-male peacock and hap tank, is you're constantly having to pull guys out that get beaten up. Yeah, he's a line-bred hybrid that came from the CICHLID shack. And then over there is one of my dragon bloods from upstairs. It's like a, I don't know what you call them, strawberry if you want, but there's some, as you'll see later, there's some dragon bloods upstairs that are amazing, but they were giving this guy all kinds of grief. There's the sump. I never show the sump. It's got two pumps in it, one that pumps all the water back to these big tubs, and one that pumps the water up into this long, 8-foot long tank up there. Yeah, it's a 100-gallon Rubbermaid stock tank. It's been pretty good. Alright, let me open up these big barrels and show you what's going on inside of them. Okay, so if you've never seen these before, if you've never watched previous tours, just big, about 180 gallon each. This whole system is about 400 gallons. Just pulled some fish up out of here for you to see. This tub is red shoulders, F1 red shoulders from that male I showed earlier, and then there's one dragon blood in here. And I've sold off so many of these fish, and I've sold a bunch of males, so that I'm at a point where I'm pretty sure most of these are females. They're probably 2.5 inches, most of them. I think there's about 10 fish left in here. And then the other side is basically the same deal. It's just over there I've got blue neons. I've probably got about 10 or 11 of those. Like I said earlier, the bigger ones that are in that 10 gallon, I've just been pulling those as they get bigger and putting them in there. Again, I've sold a lot of those. I don't have any nice males to even show right now. The last one went to Stevo Hoppa. So yeah, it's been good though. Growing fish, kind of the same old, but that is good news. Alright, let's go upstairs and show you the 220. Okay, now we're upstairs at the 220. That's the 220 gallon display tank, to be more specific. And first off, apologies. I usually try and film these kind of things at night to avoid the glare from the window that's behind this tank, as you can see right there, but sorry, it's not working out that way this time. I'll try and limit it as best I can. This tank is doing awesome. That's kind of the short story. It's been great, other than, you know, some of the fish that have gotten beaten up, which you saw downstairs. But really, it's been awesome having this thing. Things are good. A lot of these fish, I did an update on this tank a few weeks ago, so not a lot really has changed. These are those dragon bloods I was talking about. Like, this guy looks almost as good as my breeder male downstairs, and he's almost as big. I mean, it's crazy. And then there is a second one right here that also looks really good. See both those guys? It's crazy. Those guys both came from, at the ACA convention, the auction. I think it was like $50 for those two guys, and there were two females in with them. And man, they've just taken off. And 99.9% sure those came from D. Koshi originally, so they're the same stock as my breeder downstairs, which is part of why they look so good. I've got a couple of other really nice dragon bloods in here. That guy I bought locally. He's pretty nice. I'd be really happy with him, and it's hard to know how he'd look if these guys weren't in there, but I'm sure I'd be really happy with him. You know, just if he was my only dragon blood. There is my Giselle male that I almost want to take and make my breeder male downstairs and see what happens, just to kind of diversify, because this guy came from Butch at Southeast Cichlids and the other ones were from Trevor at Wonder Cichlids, so I don't know, I may do that. This Kobu came from, I'm sorry, that's my that's not the Kobu, that is my Flametail, who looks really good. The Kobu is over here from the Cichlid Shack. He's like my best new recent addition. Sunshine, it always looks good. You can see down there in the rocks are some of my Synodontis. White Lips is always looking good. His fins are a little nicked up, but he's still a really awesome looking fish. Deep water hap, bicolor 500. I'm not always great about like going through every fish in this tank. There's an Azurus back there. It looks good. This is a Melodo. That is just insane. Has this awesome blaze. Usually hides. Like I can never get pictures of him. He's always hiding. That guy also came from ACA. Blue Neon, which is my first Peacock ever. Really nice. That is a goldfin Borlei, and then back there is my big, huge redfin Borlei. There's that Azurus. He's really, like, he did not look like that when I put him in here. Let's see if I missed anybody. I think I got most of them. Just a couple odds and ends, but yeah, it's really it's awesome. Anybody who says like, oh well, you know, I meant I need a big huge tank like that, well, it's pretty great, honestly. So that's the fish room tour for this quarter. I try and do them every 3 months. I do a lot of things, you know, I did an update on this tank in between, I did a breeding update in between, so I try and not go 3 full months without showing everything, but at least once a quarter I try and like really fully show all the tanks. So that's what this is. Thanks everyone for watching. If you watched this far to the very end, especially, cannot thank you guys enough for all the support. Hopefully somebody's watching this besides just IFG. Inquisitive Fish Guy, follow him too. It's a great hobby. YouTube, it's a great community, so thank you everyone, appreciate it. If you just stumbled upon this and you're not subscribed, it'd be awesome if you'd subscribe. I do a video every week. So until next time, have a good one everybody.